Hello friends, greetings from Colorado. Hope you're doing well on this glorious spring day. I thought I'd come on here and share a bit about my experience with crazy food costs rising and what we can do about it. A friend of mine, Adam Roa, recently posted, he actually just got to town, and he said he spent like over $500 on groceries in one day, and that's just for him. And he was like, how? He's like, let me ask you parents out there, how do you do it? And it's a good question. How do you do it? We have a baby now, and she's 9 or 10 weeks old, and navigating reality in general with the baby is a whole thing. But with rising food costs and food being poisoned and bad and all this stuff, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I recently saw a post where someone said, I don't know if this is true, but someone said that in the last 2 years, I think, the average cost of groceries has gone up like $10,000 a year for a family of four, which that's wild. That's almost $1,000 a month. And I have friends who are single and spend in that regard. They spend $1,000+ a month on food. So it's a lot, especially, if you're someone working on if you're not like a tech executive or something, it can be a lot. So food to me is one of the most important things to put money towards. It's preventative medicine, it's joy, it's connection. There's food provides so much in my life. Obviously, the health piece is huge, and we grow a lot of our own food, and we forage a lot of our food, and we raise animals, and dumpster dive and all that kind of stuff. But just in general, I put a lot of time and energy into the food we make, and I put a lot of love into it because I know what we eat and how we eat, affects how we feel. And so to me, it feels so important. Food is such an intimate act. We're literally consuming things that become a part of us. And I've done a lot of workshops in mindful eating and just helping people get connected to food because so many of us have eating addictions. And I would say a lot of the money that's put into food is, often because people have addictive eating patterns and kind of weird emotional things going into food, and myself included sometimes. And something I'm working on for most of my life is how do we not, just eat way more than we need. We know in America that over 50% of food is wasted every year. And it's one of the reasons I love to dumpster dive, and that's something I've been doing for a long time. But even before I was into dumpster diving, I knew that there was something special about food. So how do we cut back on groceries? Maybe 8 or 9 years ago, I put out a video. It was probably our first big viral video, how to live on $3 a day. This is with Brothers Green, and something just hit at the time. It was right around, we were kind of still in the recession, and people just wanted to be able to save money. And I saw, wow, there's people that love to eat out there, and they want to be able to not break the bank and eat well. Flash forward to now, and yeah, it's food prices have gone up tenfold since then. So there's a couple things that you can consider, and there's different ways to kind of approach it. And the reason I like to look at the emotional eating side is because I think we do eat more than we need, first off, and I also think we don't know how to eat seasonally. If you're eating seasonally, you're going to probably be saving money. Now the exception is if you're going to a farmer's market and buying really high quality produce and stuff, it could technically feel like more. But when I go to the market, like yesterday I went to the market to pick up things, and we preserved a ton from last year. So when we're buying stuff, we're buying like usually a few things. We might get a little bit of citrus, some sweet potatoes, some butter, things like that, and cheese sometimes, because that's stuff that we like. But a lot of the meats and stuff, we harvested roadkill venison last year. We raised rabbits for meat. We get our own eggs. A lot of that stuff is, things that we're doing. But when I look around the market, a lot of the things that are really expensive are the packaged stuff. Sauces, prepackaged foods. I was looking at going through the produce section. There was all these kind of snacks kind of hidden throughout, as if we're not going to be impulse purchasers. And there were these chocolate figs covered in chocolate, and they were like $17. And I'm seeing a lot of this stuff, and I'm like, even basil right now. Basil, it was $13 for a little pack of basil. It was ridiculous. And meanwhile, we have nettle growing, and we have all these wild greens. I ended up making this sort of mint nettle pesto yesterday, and it was amazing. And it was all with stuff we had grown and preserved. We had garlic and onions from last year. The only thing that we put in there was some olive oil, and I just found olive oil in the dumpster. So it was literally quote unquote free. Now, to set up these systems in place, if you're trying to be a homesteader, and that's a big part of our life, is doing this kind of stuff, it takes time and it takes money. To have your own chickens, to get your own eggs is amazing, but it's not it's cheaper to probably just buy eggs at the grocery store or buy them at the farmer's market. Where the systems start to come into place is when you're like, oh, but I'm getting, the manure from the chickens, and I'm getting compost, and that's going into my vegetables, and then growing these amazing vegetables. So over time, you start to see how all these systems really make sense, but at first it can feel like a lot. And we just launched a homesteading series that we're doing in person in Boulder, starting May 19th. It's 3 months, and we have maybe 2 slots left, almost sold out, because when I posted on there's a Boulder Collective Facebook group, I posted who'd be interested in us doing a series teaching like fermentation, preservation, composting, raising animals, and it was like we got like 300 likes and 100 comments of people like, I'm in. So clearly there's a lot of people that want to get into this space, but it's challenging. And I think, I ran into a friend a few months ago, and he's like, yeah, we're trying to find land, and food costs are going up, and we need to start growing our own food. And in my mind, I'm like, cool, yeah, I get it, I'm right there. And also, if you don't love it or you're not really drawn to it, if you're just doing it out of fear, it's probably not the right place to go. Maybe you're better off just working more, or getting a raise or something, and just growing and buying your own food, because on some level, it's not necessarily easier. We love it. What I love about raising animals and growing food is the joy, is the process. Hey, look at what it is. We've got our goat friends just running around in the mountainside, and I get to sit out here and watch them graze and just eat things that are all over the mountain. Most of these plants I know, but this has taken me a long time. It's been 10, 15 years of foraging, growing food, learning how to cook and preserve. So I always say there's no destination to get to. If you're feeling drawn, hey guys, hey these guys, tricky, I know. Whoa! If you're feeling really drawn to growing your own food, if this is something that's like, hey, I want to do this, or I need to save money, like, consider it a journey. It can be it can be the most meditative spiritual experience. At some level, once we've done all the healing work and the plant medicines and stuff, like, what's the practical nature of living in this life? And to me, the spiritual practice that I experience and engage with every day is waking up in the morning and tending to the animals, hiking in the mountain, and being in nature, and then washing the dishes, because that's also a meditation, and then cooking food for my family. These things I get joy of, and I see the benefit of them. But I'm not just doing it because, oh my God, food costs are going up and I have to do it. Because when we do it from that place, we miss the magic of it. But if the fact that we're like, well, food systems are being poisoned, even organic food is like, who knows where it's coming from and what the impact is. Superfoods are wreaking havoc on native lands and all this stuff. When we start seeing that, we're like, I need to eat better. If we're just doing it out of fear and we're creating from fear, we're going to probably create more and more fear. But if we're doing it out of this excitement of like, wow, I want to have food sovereignty, and I want to take back what was taken from me and see what that journey and that experience is like, then it's like, oh, okay, I just need to start somewhere. Maybe I don't have a garden. Maybe I don't have all the space, and I can just start sprouting things in my little kitchen apartment. And even just being connected to seeds in that level. Oh, Bigo, we've got a whole party here now. We've got a whole party. Oh, there he goes. Maybe being connected to that process of just like buying seeds and sprouting them and eating those seeds. Some people say sprouts are like the most nutrient dense vegetable. They're even more nutrient dense than the full vegetable. I haven't done the science, I don't know. The point is, as you start to engage with these little things open up. When I was living in Brooklyn, obviously I didn't have a lot of space to grow food, but I started going to the parks and started foraging and learning about, oh wow, there's so much that's wild and edible and medicinal everywhere. I mean, this mountainside, if you look at it, it probably looks like, it's like, oh, there's some pine trees and grass, but I could show you in this little area right here, probably 5 to 10 different things that are delicious and edible, or medicinal. So the more you connect to these processes, the more you get to know the world around you and understand the nature that and the abundance that is, the more things start to open up and start to change. So if you're interested in, hey, I want to save money, I want to start homesteading, I want to be more self-sufficient, know that there's no one right place to start. The starting is an idea that is a seed planted within you, and these little access points to get into it, little things you can do. I can sit here and tell you, oh, just go to the grocery store and just buy things that are cheap, and maybe that's it. Buy potatoes, buy rice, buy flour, make your own bread. That's one option. Maybe you just want to start fermenting. You can, half my diet I feel like is sourdough bread, and I can make a loaf for about $1 when I break down the costs, like $1 or $2, which is crazy. So there are things like that, but I say self-sufficiency is kind of the scam. It's really no self-sufficiency because we're all in it together. And sometimes in the process of trying to be self-sufficient, you might realize that there is no self. The self is an illusion, and that we're all connected, we're all supporting one another, and then doors start to open up. I do a lot of volunteering at farms, and we help them out. In exchange, we get produce and things. That's another great way to cut back on costs. You're getting to learn more, and you're getting to save. So there's a million ways to save money, not to mention just buying less material things and putting it towards food. But know however you start, and just keep growing from there.